So, welcome. If you're new here, welcome. If you're returning and you're a returner subscriber, you're constantly watching my videos and you want to watch another one, thank you. But so I'm bringing y'all TeeTee Storytime. This TeeTee Storytime is a little different because this one is more along a serious note, where the past ones has been more along, the humorous, aspect. So this one is a little bit more serious, and the whole, the whole motherfreaking big picture behind TeeTee Storytime, this TeeTee Storytime, is forgiveness. Forgiveness is something that we as a whole, as people in general, need to work on. This is something that I need to work on, and I am currently in the process of working on. So let's just dive on. All right, so this story, we're going back into my childhood. So I know I was under 16 years old. However, I'm not entirely sure how young I was at this point in my life, but I remember some family members came from out of town. Some of my family from Jersey came, and I don't remember entirely what was going on. I want to say that my family had came here for my graduation, because I had a graduation party after I graduated high school, and I want to say they came for that. But so my family came. We're on celebrating and everything, and everybody who knows my parents knows that my parents had 6 kids. That was something that was unavoidable. You had no choice but to see it, because you see 6 kids walking alongside my parents. And majority of the time my mother was the working parent. My dad was on or currently is, but at the time was on disability, still on disability. So money was money was not, it wasn't in my house in surplus. We didn't have everything in surplus. The way it was, whatever the eldest ones had, if it was at least still in good condition, it was passed down to the younger ones. That's how it was. My parents did everything that they could to make sure that their kids had, that we didn't go without. And I just thank God for my parents that we were at least, we weren't the flyest kids. We didn't have, the latest pair of Jordans, Nikes, you know what I'm saying, that every time that came out in the 90s, early 2000s. But we were clean. My parents had electricity, running water. We were able to wash our butts. They were able to purchase necessities like deodorant, body soap. So I count my blessings. Food, and but we didn't have the best, but my parents, now I will say, now I'm not gonna sit here and say we didn't have some stuff now, because my parents pretty much accumulated debt to make sure that their kids had, which ain't, that's not the greatest, that's not the greatest thing to do in life, to accumulate debt in general. But this is what my parents did. My parents racked up, debt with Sears cards, Walmart cards, to make sure that their kids had, every Christmas we had something, and it was new. We never had anything passed down as a Christmas present, you know what I'm saying? But my parents, they did what they could, especially with my mom being a young mom. My mom was a teenage mother, you know what I'm saying? She had her first kid at 15, 16. I came along at 17. She had my brother that's older than me, 11 months before. So, my parents, they did their thing, you know what I'm saying? I give shout outs to my parents. However, other people who had it a little better, whether they were working, as the, I want to say garbage truck person, the person that goes around and collects garbage for the city, but I don't know like the political correct term for it. I don't know the actual title for it, but people have postal workers jobs. They had less than 4 kids, and we've endured, not me per se, but my siblings, and anything that my siblings endure, I take it as if it's coming towards me too, because the way I was raised and the way I see things, you don't like one, you don't like the other. You clown one, you clown the others. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's how it was with my siblings. Like, we were a mother freaking pact, okay? You clown one, you clowning all 6. You fighting one, you fighting all 6. Like, that's how we were. But so I had family members. I had an aunt, if I'm not mistaken. I believe she worked as a postal, USPS worker, and her husband, if I'm not mistaken, at the time, her husband was a trash servant, trash worker for the city. They had 3 kids, and out of all my aunts and uncles on my dad's side, and there's 9 of them, and out of those 9, only 2 of them had more than 4 kids. It's my eldest uncle, Uncle LJ, rest in peace, and my dad. Uncle LJ had about 7 kids, 8 kids, something like that. I'm not entirely sure. And my parents had 6. And we were the poorest of the family. It makes sense, though. I mean, you trying to raise, 5+ kids on pretty much, can't nobody live off of minimum wage. I'll tell you that. But I'll tell you that. We made do, because we are very, very versatile people. We are very resilient. However, it was a struggle. And so we were clowned a lot by our wealthier, because they were wealthier than us at the time, our wealthier family members. I had this dude. Now, mind you, he's like 6 or 8 years older than me. So if he's 6 to 8 years older than me, and I'm about 5, maybe 6 years older than my youngest brother. So this guy, you do the math, guys. He's at least 10 years older than my youngest brother. However, every time this boy saw my youngest brother, or he saw my sisters, and I'm the second eldest of 6. It's my brother, who is currently 28. It is me, who is currently 26. It's my sister under me, who is 25. I have a set of twin sisters who are 23, and I have a younger brother who is 22. And this guy would clown my younger siblings for not wearing Jordans, for him wearing Jordans. Mind you, this dude had no job at the time. Like, he had to be like 16, 17, 18, living with his parents. Majority of the stuff that he had in life came from his parents. But this dude felt the need to clown me and my siblings. I say me because, like I said, he felt the need to clown me and my siblings for us not having the name brand stuff that he had when both his parents worked. They had decent paying jobs, and they only had 3 kids. My parents had 6. I had one working parent, and my one working parent, majority of her life worked entry-level jobs, minimum wage jobs, and she had 6 kids. So you got that guy constantly clowning. We couldn't stand him growing up because of the fact. Then, not to mention his mom. So this cousin, her son, always clowned us. Like, every chance we got, every time we saw this dude, we could go to motherfucking Florida, like in the 90s. I think it was like 99. We went to Florida for my granddad's funeral, and this nigga clowning us in the motherfucking funeral home. Like, what, nigga, can we bury granddad? You know what I'm saying? But nah, you want to sit here with the jokes because your parents are, doing a little good for themselves and only got 3 kids, whatever. So then his mom comes, later in some years. I'm at this time, I'm thinking it's my graduation party. She comes, and she's questioning my sister's clothing. She's like, she sees that my sister had these boots on. She's like, oh, your Uggs are cute, yada, yada, yada. She looks further at the shoes and noticed that they're like a knockoff version of Uggs. So then she goes and says, oh, those not Uggs. And then she later goes and say, later in time, she starts asking us like, hey, why y'all don't wear DKNY? Why don't you wear this? Why don't you wear that? And I'm sitting here and I'm like, at the time, I'm 16 going on 17 years old, and I'm 16, 17, and I at the time didn't even work because my parents didn't allow us to work. Like that's just my parents wanted their kids to focus on school, which all glory be to God, I academically, achieved. You know what I'm saying? Like this one right here was pulling 4.0s, high 3s on a regular basis. Like honor roll, I was inducted to the National Honor Society. I was a member of the Urban League Black Scholar within the city of Rochester. You know what I'm saying? Like I made Dean's List and so I've always, like, my parents instilled in us that we didn't have to focus on jobs. Our goal was school. So we didn't work. And you got this grown woman who at the time had to be in like her mid to late 40s, early 50s almost, questioning people that is under 16 when I'm the one that's old enough to work. She's asking people who don't have a job, who lives off their parents and who are minors, why they don't wear DKNY and all this other stuff. And we got tired of it. Like we literally hated these Jersey family members because of the fact that every time, and it wasn't just them, this one set of family, it was pretty much everything that came from Jersey. Like we've always felt that, when they came around, they would compare themselves towards us in a way of like, I'm better than you type thing. And so for years, like this ruined relationships. We didn't talk to these people. When these people would come to motherfucking Rochester, or we would come to Jersey to see them, like we would dread seeing them. Like my dad would be like, oh, go give your cousin a hug, go give your auntie a hug, and we'd be walking, taking the tiny steps with the face all crunched up, like, oh, why I gotta hug this old bald-headed greasy, because we got tired of constantly being, picked fun of and made fun of because of our situations that we couldn't control. You know what I'm saying? And so years go on, and I go and talk to that same aunt, and this was a couple of months ago. So now at this time I was 25. So this is about 8 years later, and we constantly had stuff coming up with the family, because my family, like when it comes to the aunts and uncles, they gossip too much. They talk too much about their kids, and it's to me it's not a good look. It's just like, those your kids. You know what I'm saying? Why are you putting down your kids to the next person? I don't give a dang if it is your brother and sister. You know what I'm saying? That's your kids. These are your nieces and nephews. Why the freak you talking about them like they some dogs? You know what I'm saying? This is my family. And so some stuff came up, and I was like, you know what? I can't hold it in no more. I need to talk to my aunts and uncles. So I started calling people, and I started putting people in their place, because this stuff was taking a toll on my mental health. I was constantly pissed every time I hear these people's names. I hear a name, pissed. Like I'm telling you, hear a name, and that junk was instant. Hear a name, and that trigger. Go to their house and beat the dog mess out of them. Like this, how pissed I was with these people. But then I realized, after talking with my aunt, that same aunt, the postal worker, who constantly, her and her kids constantly made us feel like we were nothing. I had to talk with her, and I told her, I said, Auntie, this is why growing up, we never really liked y'all. We never liked y'all. We didn't care for y'all. And I told her, you said this, that, and the third to my sisters about their clothes, and you question us about why we don't wear stuff like we had control. Then we spent every single interaction with your eldest son being picked on. And I put it out there, and she was like, her response was, what? Really? I don't remember ever saying that. But if I did say that, I do apologize. She was like, I didn't know that that's how you felt. And that's when I realized, like, I, as well as my siblings, was going around pissed off at this lady over something that she didn't even remember. You know, every time they mentioned her name, every time we saw her face, we were pissed. We didn't want nothing to do with these people, you know what I'm saying? And she's sitting here talking about she didn't even remember saying this. And that's why I say forgiveness. Another story, my cousin, I'm not going to go into details of that story, but long story short, he put his hands on me in an inappropriate way, you know, very physical, and he hurt me, you know what I'm saying? And I was a 9-year-old kid, and this dude is like 2 years younger than my mom. So me being 26, my mom is currently 43, he's 41 right now. Like, you see the math. Like, this dude 15 years older than me, and he put his hands on me over, you know, a situation that it wasn't even a situation. Like, I just felt like my family did not like me. These Jersey people did not like me. And I told these people about it, and none of them remembered the altercation. And it's just like, and that's when I realized people really walk around this world holding grudges, pissed off at people for doing stuff, saying stuff to them. Meanwhile, that person ain't even sweating you. They don't even remember, you know, the negative thing that they did to you. Let it go. It's time to forgive. And the worst thing about it is us Christians, we quit to claim Christianity. Oh, I'm a child of God, and we act all holier than thou. But we fail to realize that the same prayer that we pray, the Our Father prayer, the prayer that God says that we're supposed to pray, when you can't think of anything to pray, the Our Father prayer is your go-to prayer. In that prayer, it says, forgive us of our trespasses as we forgive those who trespass against us. Meaning, Heavenly Father, forgive me for my sins as I forgive those who sinned against me. The Heavenly Father ain't gonna forgive us for our sins. He's not gonna forgive us for our trespasses if we can't forgive that brother, that sister, that white person, that black person, that Chinese person, that Hispanic person, that Native American person, that Jewish person, that Muslim person, that Mexican. If we can't forgive the things that they did to us, God not gonna forgive us. You cannot go into heaven. You can't get into heaven holding grudges. And that is the whole story. That's the whole, you know, big picture to this story, is that we need to learn to forgive and let go. Nobody said that you had to forget, but I'll tell you this right now. When I remember bad stuff, I can't let it go. I can't let it go. I have to forget stuff to let it go. So if forgetting something will help you forgive somebody, then do just that, because you need peace. You need peace. All right? I love y'all. Remember, if you don't get nothing out of this video, just remember to forgive, let go, and let God. One love.